out of every single platform there is, Grailed is probably the way to go. Not to sell, I think, because of the high fees, but you will have a person that's going to buy your item, but you're going to lose a little bit of money on the fees. That's what I want to say. Nothing negative towards Grailed, but obviously there's people on there who act incredibly dumb towards sellers and offer things that are ridiculous. I've made a video on this, so if you're interested, have a look there. So it was brought to my attention on Depop that there was a pair of Rick Owens double bumpers, first season, first canvas material. I think that's the first one, that the summer version that really dropped. This is all before, this was like 3 or 4 years ago, I believe. There were the first models of Rick Owens double bumpers. They were far superior to everything that came after, simply because of the weight. Nothing special on it, no pentagram, no Android logos, no really odd PU materials. That's what I already wished for a mainline pair, but it didn't exist yet back then. So purchased a pair, someone said, yeah, it's that season is the first pair, blah, 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 blah. It ended up being the PU pair. So the plastic pair, let's say, can't maintain that stuff. So I had to send that back. Seller was willing to comply because he said, okay, you're right, this is not that season. I compared the codes, was totally different. So the entire buy was off, and he gave me my money back, and then I returned the items to him. But the other way was on Vinted. On Vinted, there's a zero tolerance policy they claim for selling Rick Owens. I do not advise you to purchase Rick Owens stuff if you don't know what you're doing. I purchased a pair. I asked beforehand if it was a real pair, if there were receipts, anything like that. Everything you need to know beforehand, I asked. It was all yes, I don't have the receipt, but all these things. And it's a legit pair, trust me, blah, 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 blah. Got the pair in, trash. Absolute pair of trash replicas. And it could be that the pictures were real, but they sent a pair of replicas. But I got my money back because there's a zero tolerance policy, obviously. And yeah, you should definitely use that in your advantage, I have to say. Because some people just think if they're like quiet, or they doubt if their purchase is authentic, that they're gonna keep going with it. And let's say I would have done that. I would have owned a pair of like fake Ricks. Why? So yeah, I didn't have to send them back to the seller because yeah, he tried to screw me over. And yeah, I think that's interesting because there's people who want to buy replicas, but just be honest about it. I don't want to support replicas, even though I have no doubt in mind that some of my videos have been used for product reproduction, especially with this really rare coats, the Balma X H&M leather lion coat and the Margiela H&M belt jacket, especially all those details there. I always thought it was like useful for everyone to see all the details in the closest way possible. But I've been approached a few times from people abroad in certain countries that say, can you maybe send a few more pictures over from this and this and that side so I can make a new version out of this? And I said, no, sorry, that's not what I want to do this for. So anyway, that's the 2 times that have been really negative for me. And I want to say that in recent events, my channel has been going a bit better and my Instagram has been growing a little bit. There's been more traffic and more people asking things and just talking about Rick Owens in general, which is much appreciated. But there's so many people asking if I can do a legit check on the item that they want to purchase because it's a really good price or it's their dream pair. And I want to get you out of that dream that this world is not built for you. It means of getting the deals that you want. It's a imaginary world where in your head, everything needs to work. That's what I did as well. I bought a lot of secondhand Rick Owens pairs and it was all purely luck that it was the right fit. Sometimes I purchased half a size higher. Sometimes I purchased half a size lower. I didn't have any size guides or anything. It was pure luck that it fit me, because if you buy it and it doesn't fit, you're stuck with the item. It can be in a different condition. It can be inauthentic. The size cannot be right. Why would you want to risk all of this just because you can get a little bit of a better deal? I would say go for security and authenticity over a good deal. And you can get good deals nowadays. So why even want to buy a pair of Rick Owens if you're not quite sure? If a pair of Geo Baskets is like 350 or 400 and you're not sure if they're authentic, why would you spend that money on it? If you're unsure if it's authentic, don't do it. Stop doing that. So just to be clear, reason number one, sizing. You're gonna have buyer's remorse if you don't know what you're doing. Knowledge is key in this, and if you don't have the correct knowledge or watch videos or have really unique feet that don't fit like the rest of the people, which is a big chance because a lot of people sometimes have been coming back to my videos and saying, well, what you're saying isn't right, but they're not listening well because of the European sizing being different than the US or UK sizing, or sizing in general being different, or the base shoe that I'm basing my sizing off, like I usually wear a size 44 is what I usually say, and people don't know that I'm talking about mainline or dark shadow, which is, well, specified that I wear in both. So sometimes there's a little bit more room. So if you have that experience, you should apply that to your sizing. And in short, that can be different than what the YouTube video tells you or the experience of other people online. You also have personal preference, obviously, but it means of the sizing working. If it's your first pair, or you want to buy a pair that you're unsure if the sizing works, don't buy it secondhand. But number two, authenticity. Why? If you don't know, if you're unsure, don't do it. This can be really short. If something's off, there's no receipts or anything. I keep everything, all my receipts of accessories, sunglasses, trousers. If anyone wants to buy my items, I have a full invoice for them to show authenticity. I have the cards that were attached to it. I have the YouTube videos that I made on the topic, on where I purchased them. Authentic websites, always, no secondhand stuff. It's always good. I feel more trustworthy that way, but some people just disregard all of that. They say, yeah, it's legit. I purchased it somewhere, or I got it from my friend. Red flags, don't do it. Please, just buy it from a store. So there's an authentication process, and this will be chapter 2.5 actually. So how trustworthy is an authentication process? That's what I tried to figure out. You don't know. You don't know who's checking your shoes. You don't know what they base it off of. Let's say you buy a pair of sample sneakers. There's nothing to be found on the internet. How would these people know if this is authentic, yes or no? For example, my alumni Rick Owens double bumpers, I made some content over them, so there's a little bit of content on them. But let's say I want to sell those. Nobody else has made a video or anything. How do they know if that's real or not? Just because it's the same font or a different weight or the stitching. I understand that there are experts out there who have a lot of experience in this stuff, but how can they know every single pair? Like Rick Owens Adidas stuff is so much replicas out there, colors that don't even exist. And I see them on Grailed, I see them on Vinted, I see them on Depop, everywhere. And you report these things and they say you don't have enough evidence to say that these are fake. Which is ridiculous. It's having a red color Rick Owens Adidas mustard on is fake. There's no proof needed for that. It just doesn't exist. So there's a lot of these Ukes pairs. I understand those are really unique colorways and all that. And they're called Ukes pairs for a reason, like the black and yellow dark shadows. I wouldn't recommend buying that. But that's real. It does exist. There's stuff to find on there. There's probably some things that can be said for collaborations as well. But I mean, how do you know? Do they have experts everywhere? I would say Grilled, again, would be the best thing because they've had so much of that stuff over there. And they're, I think, quite experienced with that kind of stuff. Now, again, is it foolproof? I don't know. I don't think so. I can't imagine that it would be foolproof. But on Vinted, they have this authentication process, but if I report an item, they say you don't have proof that it's fake. So why would I ask them to check if something is fake? If they say, well, you don't have the proof, so we're not going to delete that listing. Whatever. I don't buy stuff like that on Vinted anymore because I strongly dislike it. If I want to sell it for cheap, then I will put my Rick Owens stuff on Vinted, but otherwise, no. Pricing, chapter 3. Pricing is a big thing for people. People want to buy every single pair of sneakers for the lowest price as possible. For different reasons, yes, let's say you just want to buy a pair of Rick Owens Geo Baskets. It's $400. Or, well, maybe let's say a normal pair of secondhand would be $400, I would assume, because retail is like 8 or 9 at the moment. And if they're still in pretty nice shape, people always try and oversell that thing. They still want to get as close as retail as possible. I think that's really weird and stupid, in my opinion. Your item will not sell for those prices unless it's something unique. And even my pair of Geo Baskets looks really cool. It's really old, 10 years old, I think, almost. And why would I still charge that retail price? There's nothing special about it. This is a regular rotation piece that can still be worn a lot of years. I would say it would easily make 20 years. But yeah, it's just the pricing can be so cheap for some things that there has to be something off. Maybe you want to jump on that particular piece because it is so cheap, and that's the trick. You will stop paying attention to the actual condition of items. Sometimes I see a picture on platforms and I see a really good price. I click on it and the generic picture is pretty cool. It's a good condition piece, but right after that I look and inspect this picture and it's totally beat. There's holes in it, cuts in it. There's a reason these things are really cheap, and there's nobody really that you don't know are willing to let go a pair of Rick Owens sneakers for that cheap. There has to be something in that advertisement that you're missing because of that price. So pay attention. Price is not everything. So don't buy too fast. Ask questions beforehand. Don't buy anything without a invoice or stuff like that. Also, shipping can be disastrous, especially on the seller side. They can not care about your double boxing method. Some people use the same box, slap a label on there and tape it shut so you have no box. Some people don't put in the stuffing so it doesn't move around or protect the box from rain. I always put a trash bag if I ship shoes. And so if it rains, it doesn't get into the box. Even though it's double box, the box can get wet and then go through to the other box. I don't want that stuff. So I always do a trash bag around it and then seal that shut all the way. And yeah, just have the best possible experience. But there's some people who have no idea how import costs work, or they put the full price of their grilled listing on top of their package. So one time I purchased a Hood by Air item, $100 including shipping. What did they put on the custom slip? $100. That's including the shipping for $40. So I'm paying extra on top of that shipping cost, which is ridiculous. It doesn't have to be that way, but the seller did not know. But as soon as it arrives in my country, I can either have it shipped back or pay another $40 on top of it on import costs and tax, just to cover the cost that the post agency has paid for me up front. So it's trash. It can be so bad of an experience because people cannot know what they're doing, can be inexperienced, or simply not care about your well-being and the item. So again, one more reason to not buy secondhand. So protection, last chapter, chapter 5. If you don't like the item, you can't send it back. If it doesn't fit, you can't send it back. If it's a little bit different as described, you're going to have an argument with the seller about your findings of the condition of the item and his, and then it's going to be a dispute, which can take up months on your PayPal, or it can escalate into a claim. And if you want to have all of that time factored in, it's not worth it. It can be a really good price, but it can be too good to be true, so you can get into crap like that. I don't recommend any of that stuff. If you don't know what you're looking at, again, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know your sizing, simply don't do it. A lot of these negative experiences can be avoided by simply buying new. Now, is that good for Mother Nature? No, but you and yourself should be safe too. You don't want to have negative experiences towards it. I do buy secondhand pieces of people that I know that are 100% authentic, that are total Rick heads, people that I trust. That's something different than just buying on the other side of the planet and then hoping that person is trustworthy, knows what they're doing in means of the shipping and all that. So again, I would strongly advise you to reconsider buying Rick Owens secondhand. There are so many deals out there. There's sale on top of sale. There's platforms who collect all these sale items together like List. Check that out. Be secure. Don't be in that bad position that you don't know if you bought the right thing or the right size. You can always exchange if you buy something new. You can use actual customer service. Sometimes it might be 50 or $100 more expensive than the secondhand pair, but trust me, it's gonna be worth it in the long run.